What is going on, guys? Predator458 here, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Assetto Corsa, where today we are going to be taking a look at two new cars for the game. The first is an official car that just released this week on Wednesday with patch 1.3.5. It is the Audi R8 V10 Plus, which we're looking at here. As you can see, 1620 kilograms, 550 horsepower, 540 newton meters. 0-100 of 3.5 seconds with a 7-speed S-tronic gearbox. And the second car we're going to be looking at is a mod car that just came out, again, same day as the Audi, which is a little bit more fiery than this Audi. So anyways, we're going to do both laps on the Nordschleife because is there any better test of a car. So I will see you guys on track with the Audi. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Audi R8 V10 Plus and the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Now quickly before we get going, track is on slow, air temperature of 16, and we are running the semi-slick tires. So we're not going for lap times, we're just kind of seeing what the R8 V10 Plus is all about. Sounds pretty good, a little bit of bog down off the line. But yeah, I took it for a sighting lap before I started recording this little video, and that pretty much confirmed what I thought I was going to think about the R8 V10 Plus, and that is basically this is not going to be one of my favorite cars in the Assetto Corsa. It's not something that I can see myself really coming back to very often. Not complaining, who doesn't like free stuff? It's just not my cup of tea. And I kind of expected it not to be because myself and all-wheel drive in this game don't have the best of relationships. Nice little bit of a overcorrection at the end there, but myself and all-wheel drive don't really have the best relationships. It just doesn't feel great to me in game. But I mean, it's not a bad car. It sounds good. It handles fairly well. If you sort of throw the weight around a bit, you can get it to slide. Although it won't really do it just from putting your foot down. That will probably cause more understeer than anything else, as it sends power to the front wheels. Grips well, sounds good, brakes well. I mean, it's a good car. It's just not really what I look for in a car in a Assetto Corsa, for something that I'm going to come back to time and time again. It just doesn't have that that feeling where a car almost looks at you and says, really, is that all you've got? Sure, you can go faster. Where the car kind of feels like it's pushing you and egging you on to go faster. And on top of that, I like a car with a more lively rear end, one that you really have to concentrate to keep under control. Something like the Koenigsegg 1.1 mod. If you haven't seen my preview videos on that, feel free to go and check them out. But since I have you, thought I'd tell you a little story. During my time as a motoring journalist, I did actually get the opportunity to drive and spend some time with the Audi R8. It was a V10 model, but unfortunately it was not the Plus. It was the original V10 Spider, back before even that first generation R8 received its facelift, back when it still had that horrible Lamborghini E-gear flappy paddle gearbox, which Audi called R-tronic, if memory serves. So basically, this car arrived at our offices, I think it was a Wednesday afternoon, and we only had it till the Monday afternoon. And Thursday it went to go and be tested, 0 to 100 and that sort of thing. Friday it came back, and then everyone in the office kind of wanted some time with it over the weekend. So the deputy editor at the time took it for Friday night and through Saturday until Saturday afternoon, when we were doing some photography with it, tracking shots and that sort of thing. Then it was my turn to have it for Saturday night until about lunchtime on Sunday, at which point, big lockup here, our photographer took the car to do some more detailed photography with it and that sort of thing. And he would then take it to Kyalami racetrack on Monday morning, which is where we were track testing the car to see what lap time it could do. And then it would go back to Audi South Africa on Monday afternoon once we had spanked it around the track. So anyways, I took it on Saturday afternoon after some of the photography had been done, took it home and fetched my girlfriend. And we decided that what do you do when you have a 1.6 million rand supercar, or not whatever it costs in your local currency. Well, and we decided we were going to take it out to dinner, and we were going to take it somewhere, another lockup, where we could sort of park it right in front of the restaurant and feel very special. So after a lovely meal, we decided to head home, but we didn't want to head straight home because the restaurant was like a 5-minute drive from home. And if you've got one of these cars, we kind of fall out the carousel a little bit for a moment, but if you've got one of these cars, do you really want to take a 5-minute drive home, or do you want to make it a little bit longer? So we decided to go a long way round, which was on a road that I had never driven on at night, and as a result we missed our turn where we were supposed to go. So I carried on, no big deal, did a U-turn, and we were coming back. Now we're coming back up the road very slowly, so I didn't miss it again, and we hit a pothole. Must have been doing less than 60 kilometers an hour. Well, hello there. But anyways, even going through this pothole at less than 60, we punctured the left front tire, or rather split the sidewall in 2 locations. A little bit of an off there. So we're sitting on the side of the road for a few hours trying to get hold of Audi's, driver assistance people. And they couldn't really help me because I wasn't the owner of the car. At least they couldn't help me initially. They had to, work amongst themselves and that sort of thing. So eventually, after sitting on the side of the road for about 2 hours, I phone up my contact at Audi and I say, look, this tire is ruined. I'm literally 2-3 kilometers up the road. Do I have your permission to drive the car home? Really slowly, of course, like 20 kilometers an hour. And he was like, yeah, go for it. So we begin the longest 3-kilometer drive I've ever done. Get it into the complex I'm living in. And we're trying to get it to the very back of the complex to go and park it out of the way. And the driveway in this complex wasn't tar, it was bricks. So obviously not completely level. But anyways, going over or through one of the corners, the bricks pulled the deflated tire off the rim. And yeah, that's where the car stayed. In the middle of the drive, the complex road, in the middle of a corner, with the tire sitting off the rim, is a 1.6 million rand supercar. But anyways, the guy from Audi was able to find a tire for us, get it fitted, and we made it to the track on Monday. But yeah, it was an interesting experience with this car. A lot of fun to drive in real life when it had all tires, although that gearbox, let me tell you quickly, horrible. Once you were moving, it was fine, but if you were stopped at a traffic light, after about 30 seconds, it would engage neutral. You didn't ask it to, it just kind of engaged neutral. So when the light went green, you put your foot down, you look like the biggest tool in the world because you just suddenly, wow, revving up this V10 engine. But anyways, that's my little story. Kind of don't really have much else to say about this car. It's not a bad car, as I said. It handles fairly well. I mean, not concentrating too much. We did a 749 on slow track settings and cold temperatures. I have no doubt it could go a lot faster. Nice little slide, but it's, as I said, it's just not the kind of car that's going to make me want to come back again and again and again and chase lap times and really try and get the best out of it, because to me it's just not that much fun to drive, and when you put your foot down out of a corner, you don't really get any oversteer, it's more understeer. But anyways, maybe our next car will make me a little bit more excited. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where in this part of the video we are going to be looking at a new mod car. As I said, this is the Ferrari 288XX GTO, which came out today, same day as the Audi R8. Same track conditions, slow, 16 degrees air temperature. The only thing I've changed in the setup is lengthened the final gear ratio, just because the standard ratios are quite short, and we're going to run the slick medium tire. But before we get going, 650 brake horsepower, 667 newton meters of torque, and it weighs 940 kilograms. So let's get going and see how it does. And it always seems to bog down off the line, but once the turbos kick in, oh yes. Now, some of you may be saying, hold on, there was never a 288XX GTO. And to those people, I say you are absolutely right. The gentleman behind this mod made, obviously, the original road car, the 288 GTO. He then also made a Group B version. And for fun, he made the XX GTO, which is entirely fictional and a sort of a reimagining of what this car would be like today, with more modern aerodynamics, brakes, suspension components, tires, all that sort of thing. So yeah, what we have here is an entirely fantasy car based on a car that really existed. And I must say, it's pretty damn good. It is pretty damn good. Now you've got a 6-speed sequential gearbox. However, it doesn't automatically blip the throttle on down changes. You've got to do that yourself. But it will sort of cut the throttle on upshift, so you don't have to let off the throttle pedal. Now again, like the Audi, I only did one sighting lap or so before starting recording this, just to get a basic feel for the car. And I must say, this is far more to my liking than the Audi. This gives me that feeling of, come on, you can do better than that, you can push harder, you can go faster. It's got a lot of grip. Sometimes it feels like maybe a little bit too much. Maybe it's almost too much on rails in terms of at least the front end. Good aerodynamics, at least good downforce in that. Good brakes, yeah, and it handles really well. As I said, maybe sometimes a little bit too well, but it's a hell of a fun car to drive, I must say. The only thing I will quickly say is, whatever you do, try not to let it oversteer, because if you oversteering, at least in terms of power oversteer, you know, accelerating out of the corner, it can be very difficult to catch and bring back under control. I imagine this thing does not have power steering, judging by how it feels, you know, through the wheel. It kind of feels like the modder went for a heavier non-assisted steering, and you can really feel that as you put on extra lock. The wheel really gets quite heavy and weights up nicely, and that's part of what makes catching the slides difficult, because when you go to apply opposite lock, you're greeted with a sort of spongy feeling wheel that's kind of fighting you and doesn't quite want to dial in the opposite lock. So if at all possible, yeah, try and keep the back end under control, which is not too difficult, but sometimes the car will surprise you and step out, and in all likelihood you're going to be facing the wrong way. But I mean, you can obviously save it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just a little bit difficult, and you probably could have carried a bit more speed through there. But yeah, I mean, really fun car. It really does feel like it wants to push you. You do obviously want to keep it on boost. If you drop off the boost, it does take a while to spool back up. But yeah, I mean, I think largely this mod is complete. Judging, you see here, we're off the boost and we're just waiting forever for those turbos to spool up. I think he did mention that the sort of driver arm animation is not 100%, and the sounds are, at least for the normal car, I'm not sure if they're the same for this XX GTO version, but for the normal road car and the Group B car, I believe he said they are the same sounds that Kunos uses for the F40, simply because this guy is not a sound modder and he doesn't have anyone to do custom engine sounds, so he is looking for someone to do that. But I mean, as I said, it's a really fun car to drive, easy for the most part. Just if the back end does catch you out, it will quite likely end in a spin, but I mean, it's got good grip, good speed through corners. It looks quite good. I suppose I should probably show you what it looks like on the exterior, which I'll do on the long straight. But I mean, even went, you know, to go and add all these little racing touches to the cockpit, the shift lights, a little bit of a excursion across the curb there, some digital dials and that for speed and gear and RPM, looks like. But yeah, I mean, again, really well done. Be interested to see how it manages time-wise, especially compared to the Koenigsegg 1.1, the second video that I did on it, when it was on similar track conditions. Was just a little bit, it was cloudy for that lap, so the track temperature was a little bit colder. But yeah, this is the mod. As you can see, pretty good job. Nice big wing on the back. Looks like some 512M inspired headlights. And thankfully this time we are not hitting the red line too early. We might still do it, but with the standard gear ratios, it topped out at about 290. And we still seem to be accelerating, so I'll happily take that. Just slow down through here. And across the line in a 6:52. So considerably faster than the Koenigsegg 1.1 lap I managed on the slow track with the road tires and that. A little bit slower than Ferrari's LaFerrari, my lap that I did in that. A little bit faster than what I managed in the McLaren P1. So yeah, not a bad little car, but I mean, it is a race car. So you do kind of expect it to be fast. And I wonder what it could do with optimal track settings and warmer temperatures and that sort of thing. But anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the look at the R8 V10 Plus as well as the 288XX GTO. But yeah, that's about it from me. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing for more Assetto Corsa, Armored Warfare, World of Warships, War Thunder, and a few other things that I throw into the mix from time to time. But yeah, that is it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.